Why do so many people grind their entire lives and still never get rich, while others seem to be doing nothing, yet money keeps flowing effortlessly into their pockets? Do you feel the injustice when you stay up late and wake up early, sacrificing both your health and your self-respect just to receive meager pay, while the person above you only needs a single nod to walk away with a fortune? The truth is, the rich keep getting richer not because they work harder than you, but because they know how to own their position. And the poor remain trapped because they keep believing that the sweat of hard work can replace power. Society teaches you that if you just work hard enough, fairness will eventually come. But Machiavelli mocks that naivete. He understood this clearly. The belief that hard work leads to wealth is the very rope that chains you to the position of a permanent hired hand. When you have no position, your effort becomes nothing more than a tool for making someone else great. In his philosophy, Machiavelli exposed a brutal truth. Position determines value, not virtue. You are not poor because you are incompetent, but because you are standing in the wrong place on the chessboard of power. The summit is not reserved for the weak or the complainers. In this video, Machiavelli will teach you the 7 laws of position, the weapon the elite use to keep you chained to the feeding trough of poverty, while they calmly collect all the profits. If you dare to discard hollow pride and learn how to seize the position of those in control, listen to this video until the end. Keep watching to change your position, or turn it off and continue accepting a life as the background character. The choice belongs to your own self-respect. Ruthless truth. Kong Che voice. The greatest paradox of life that no one ever tells you is this: power and wealth have no ears. They do not hear the pleas of those who deserve them. They only have eyes to see who is occupying the crucial position. Niccolo Machiavelli taught us a razor-sharp lesson. The world does not operate on fairness, but on instinct and structure. The rich keep getting richer, not because they possess a nobler soul than you, but because they stripped away the mask of moral hypocrisy early on and saw through the true nature of the game of position. Wake up. Machiavelli does not teach you how to become a good person by the standards of those who are exploiting you. He enters your life to tear away the rose-colored illusions about hard work and return to you the naked truth about the ability to design a position. Machiavelli believed this. In a world driven by the instinct to possess, if you do not position yourself as the one holding the wheel, you are by default the fuel for someone else's machine. This video will help you understand clearly. Wealth and poverty are not determined solely by hard work or talent, but more importantly by where you are standing within the flow of social value. 1. Wealth is never meant for those who constantly expect fairness. You work relentlessly. You arrive early and leave late. You endure, behave properly, believing that if you are good enough, diligent enough, your turn will eventually come. Yet year after year, you remain stuck in place. Your income does not break through. Your position does not change. Others, sometimes less capable than you, move ahead. Does this feeling sound familiar? The feeling of being angry, powerless, and yet afraid to speak up because you fear looking bitter. Society drills into your head the story that those who work hard and live upright lives will be rewarded. It is a beautiful illusion, but it is not realistic. The masses believe in it because it makes it easier to control. They want you to be content with your fate and hope that one day fairness will come knocking. The rich, however, do not wait for fairness. They create advantages for themselves. They leapfrog, force their way into the flow, and even bend the rules if necessary. They hear complaints about injustice and smirk because they understand this. The person who constantly expects fairness is the weakest piece on the board. Do not lull yourself into believing that persistence alone will one day make it your turn. If you are stuck in a low position and waiting for others to recognize your efforts, you have already put a shackle around your own neck. Machiavelli said it plainly: talent and virtue only truly have value when they stand in the right place within the system. Otherwise, they are merely ornaments for someone stronger. That is the cold truth. How many people around you are talented and hard-working, yet in the end serve only as background for someone else to shine? Are you placing your hopes in morality or justice? Do you think you are protected from the cruelty of society simply because you are obedient? The people who truly change their lives, do they sit there waiting for fairness to arrive? Or do they quietly change their position, build networks, seize status, and push themselves into the center of value, where no one can ignore them? Psychological researchers point out that social capital, the ability to build social position, connections, and choose the right place, produces far greater success than isolated personal skill building. The rich understand this, the poor ignore it. That is why you may always find yourself left behind, despite lacking neither talent nor effort. You refuse to move from your old position, and that is precisely the sweetest trap of fairness. Try looking back at yourself. Have you ever worked your hardest only to have someone else take the credit in the end? Have you stayed silent, endured, hoping that one day someone would give you an opportunity only for nothing to happen? Do you see yourself as a smart, brave pawn on the chessboard, yet forever stuck on the edge, never allowed to be promoted to a queen? Yes, because not every pawn makes it to the end of the board. Only the pawns that dare to break through, dare to move toward the center, dare to endure collision, can overturn the game. You want to be rich, to be strong, to be respected. Do not just sit there waiting for fairness to be returned to you. The world does not care how hard you have struggled. It asks you only one thing: where are you standing on this chessboard? And do you dare to move to claim wealth for yourself? 2. The rich control the flow of value. The poor create it but cannot keep it. You work every day, draining yourself, producing results. But at the end of the month, when you look at your account balance, you fall back into the familiar cycle of self-blame. Why is it that I create value, yet someone else is the one who benefits? Those who toil the hardest have never been the richest. You are the one who builds the outcome. But when it comes time to divide the rewards, you receive only the crumbs that fall from someone else's table. The rich, on the other hand, do not necessarily work more than you, but they always place themselves at the checkpoint, the point where the flow of value is forced to pass through them. They do not labor exhaustively at the source. They build dams, construct bridges, and collect tolls right in the middle of the river. The rich are those who control where value must pass. Look back at history. During the Renaissance, when all of Florence was intoxicated with art, artists, sculptors, and painters worked day and night to create masterpieces. But who was truly rich? Not them. The Medici family, bankers, financial powerhouses, were the ones who decided which paintings would be purchased and which artists would be elevated. The Medici controlled the financial channels and built systems for the circulation of money. The craftsmen could be geniuses, but without Medici patronage, all their effort became nothing more than decoration for the power of those in control. Today's reality is no different. You may be an outstanding programmer, creating an excellent app. But if that app does not sit on platforms like the App Store or Google Play, you still have to pay taxes to the platform owners. They are the ones who build the bridge. You are merely the one rowing the boat. You create value. They hold and distribute it. You labor. They control the exit of the results. So what deep motivation keeps people stuck in the role of creator without daring to demand control? Because we are taught that doing our job well is enough, that those who build platforms and hold power are evil or unfair. In reality, this is a clever arrangement by the strong. They make you feel noble in a low position so that you never think about building power for yourself. Machiavelli saw through this truth. In The Prince, he pointed out that the one who truly holds power is the one who controls the routes through which value flows, not the one who directly creates the value. This is the moment you must wake up. Do not take pride in being the hardest working gear when you could become the one who builds the entire machine. The solution does not lie in doing more work, but in daring to demand, daring to control, daring to stand in the position that collects tolls on the flow of value. Starting this week, look within your work for a position, a bottleneck that you can control, even if it is only customer connection, team coordination, or proactively holding your own distribution channel. Do not just create value, learn to command the flow of that value. If you remain only a creator, you will always have to bow to the controller. It is time for you to become the bridge builder, not merely the one rowing the boat on the river anymore. 3. Position determines outcomes, not just effort or talent. Imagine you and someone you despise competing in a mountain climbing race. You are young and strong, your will unbreakable, clinging to every inch of rock drenched in sweat, grinding relentlessly from noon into the afternoon without rest. The person you despise, meanwhile, quietly observes, finds a shortcut, less steep, less dangerous. When the crowd sees you struggling, exhausted, near the foot of the mountain, that person is already standing calmly at the summit, enjoying the rewards. After the race, everyone praises your endurance, your grit, your iron will, but the prize, the applause, the glory belong only to the one who chose the right path. Where do you see yourself among these two types of people? Are you the one who keeps your head down, working relentlessly, enduring, sacrificing, hoping that one day your life will finally change? Or have you ever looked up, surveyed your surroundings, reconsidered your position, observed the flow of people, and asked yourself, why are the most successful often not the hardest working? Many of us grow up with the lesson that if you try hard enough, you'll be recognized, that if you do your job well, success will come looking for you. But life does not operate by those comforting principles. Society does not reward effort, it rewards results, and results largely belong to those who stand in the right place and know how to use the leverage of position. You may be capable, you may be persistent, but if you keep swimming against the current, you will only exhaust yourself and be pushed aside, making way for those who know where the current flows in their favor. Look around you. In companies, those who toil diligently are constantly given more work and are often not the ones promoted or given raises. The ones who rise quickly are those who appear at the right moment, in the right meetings, who seize opportunities and connect with decision makers. In business, even a great salesperson can fail if they stand in the wrong distribution channel. The one who controls the channel, though not the best seller, reaps the real profits. You are not wrong to work hard, but you will always lose if effort is all you rely on. Economics calls this leverage. Leverage is not just capital, it is also the position you occupy within the system. With the same amount of effort, the person who uses leverage will go many times farther than the one who relies solely on hard work. Behavioral psychology also shows that people tend to tie their self-worth to being hard-working because it is easy to measure and earns social approval. But that sense of safety is a sweet trap that keeps you in a low position. You want to move forward? Stop using brute force to swim upstream. Instead, pour everything into moving toward the point where the flow of value must pass through you. Machiavelli never promised you a fair world. His view was simple: it does not matter how well you swim. If you swim against the current, you will only waste energy and go nowhere. Place yourself in the right position. That is the starting point of power and wealth. You need the courage to let go of the ego of being the hard-working one and face reality head-on. If your position does not change, your effort only becomes strength for someone else. It is time to switch lanes and choose your position again. Starting today, identify in your field where the strongest flow of value lies, who is standing there, and what you must do to move closer. Do not continue taking pride in enduring the long way around when you could calmly reach the summit by choosing a smarter path. 4. If you want to be rich, you must jump levels in position, not climb gradually. Anyone who enters the workforce has heard the same promise from their bosses: just work hard and you will be promoted year by year. Those comforting promises push many people into a familiar mental rut. The belief that as long as you accumulate step by step and climb each rung slowly, success is guaranteed to arrive. That sweet trap has drained the talent and youth of countless people. Many keep grinding away in the same position, only to feel more exhausted the longer they stay. The more years they put in, the more worn down they become. At some point, instead of being promoted, they quit, get pushed out, or worst of all, become stuck in the very position they once hoped would be a launch pad. The milestone of time itself becomes the trap that lets you soothe yourself with "my turn will come," while new waves of people appear, opportunities slip by, and you feel yourself growing smaller inside a massive machine. No billionaire spent their entire youth as a hired hand and suddenly became a boss. You cannot turn small accumulations into greatness when the rules of the game keep changing, and every change in hands gives opportunity to those who dare to jump levels. The world of the rich is not built for people who crave safety. The rich dare to leave the old map, dare to abandon stable positions, dare to place bets to move into new territory, where both potential and risk are multiplied. When you look back at yourself, you will realize how often you were comforted with the idea that staying put is safe, wait for opportunities and move up gradually. But staying put only turns you into a rock in a flood. Society never stands still. If you are not moving forward, you are already falling behind. You may be content with selling your labor, trading time for money, but you fail to see that the biggest rewards always belong to those who control the system and own assets. Whoever holds the intersections of value, platforms, data, distribution channels, communities, sets the rules and takes the full reward. Psychology shows that people cling to their comfort zones out of fear of instability, fear of losing control, and fear of failing in front of others. That is the biggest trap preventing you from jumping levels. This fear pushes you to repeat small steps instead of committing everything to one decisive leap. But history never remembers those who always chose safety. History remembers those who dared to shatter the old cage and step into new territory, even when the outcome was uncertain. Machiavelli pointed this out centuries ago. To gain power, you must dare to change position, to become the one through whom value is forced to pass. Do not be complacent with achievements on the old map. They are merely small rewards for those who have not dared to risk. Do not believe in slow accumulation. Find where the value converges and seize a position there. It is like playing your favorite game. Every game has multiple stages and multiple maps. No matter how perfect your score on an old level, the real rewards are always waiting in the next stages. The winner is not the one who keeps grinding the old map, but the one who dares to move to a new one, where the risks are higher but the rewards are greater. The real world works the same way. Do not wait to climb slowly. Look for the leap. Starting today, always ask yourself, what is the new map in your work and your field? Do you dare to leave the comfort zone and bet on a level jump, or will you keep collecting scraps and remain small? It is time to choose. And whatever you choose, you will find allies if you are willing to share your perspective in the comments under this video. Find yourself a community of people who share the same values, so the road ahead becomes less difficult. 5. Practical actions to change your position. At this point in the journey, you have heard a great deal about the power of position, about how the rich do not necessarily work harder than you, but simply stand in the right place. But merely understanding this will not change your life. Awareness alone does not transform you if you do not begin to take concrete action. Sitting still and waiting for luck, waiting for someone to call your name, waiting for a promotion, is a quiet form of career suicide. You will forever be creating value for others if you do not proactively find ways to control the flow of value around you. I want you to stop and look honestly at your own reality. If you quit your job tomorrow, what would happen to your clients or your organization? Would there be confusion and disruption, or just minor inconvenience, before you were quickly replaced by another name? This is a painful question, but it reveals your true position in the system. If you are only a creator and not a controller, you are easily left behind. This truth may sound harsh, but it forces you to audit yourself. Who are you on the chessboard? A pawn moving step by step, or a junction through which every flow of value must pass? Successful people do not sit around waiting for someone to hand them a big chair. They act proactively, identifying gaps in their industry or profession, places where the system needs intermediaries, connectors, controllers. They also proactively build or control relationships, whether that is a process, a network, a customer base, a dataset, or a platform, anything where, without them, things slow down or even stop entirely. Once you control such a node, you become the gatekeeper between supply and demand, the one who collects a toll every time value passes through. If you cannot yet be the owner, then proactively become the gatekeeper, the one who holds a transfer point, a relationship, or a platform of your own. Look at colleagues who are always in demand, who know how to connect, coordinate, and hold critical information. You will see that they never worry about unemployment. The truth is, the market only truly values you when you own or control some part of the value chain. Dark psychology shows that most people are trapped in trying to become the best, without realizing that being excellent in the wrong position only turns you into fuel for someone else's ambition. The more talented you are while remaining stuck in one place, the more you empower others. The deeper reason we hesitate to change position is fear. Fear of failure, fear of instability, fear of judgment, fear of starting over. But the world does not care about your fears. The world rewards only those who dare to act before the crowd and dare to place themselves at the right value node. Research in business and personal success has proven that those who identify and occupy the value bottleneck maintain a long-term advantage, regardless of market or technological shifts. Ask yourself, in your industry, where is that bottleneck? What can you control? A distribution channel, a loyal customer group, a community, a platform, or even just the ability to connect supply and demand? Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The wise act immediately on what fools only do much later." Will you choose to stand by and watch others build their position, only to regret it when you are left behind, or will you begin acting now? Think of a river carrying millions of cubic meters of water. Without control, the water simply flows away aimlessly. But place a small dam in the right spot, and the entire river suddenly becomes electricity, an asset, power for the dam's owner. You do not need to be the strongest. You only need to know how to build the dam at the right time and in the right place. Starting today, identify your real position. Find the value bottleneck in your field, your work, or your social group. Step into that position and take control of it. Do not be the most capable person whom no one remembers. Remember, it is not the most talented who win. Victory belongs only to those who know how to place themselves correctly, at the right time, and act before the crowd. Are you ready to change your position? 6. 3 psychological traps that keep the poor stuck in low positions. In the book, Discourses on the First 10 Books of Titus Livy, Machiavelli once wrote, "The reason why men do not change their condition is that they are afraid of new things. They have more confidence in what exists than in things that may come to be." In today's context, this argument should be understood as follows. People do not change their fate. They fear the new because they trust the stability in front of them more than the possibility of something better behind an unopened door. Where do you see yourself in this idea? Have you ever comforted yourself by thinking that if you just endure a little longer, things will eventually improve? Are you living on an income that merely keeps you afloat, resigning yourself to it until the desire to escape fades away, simply because you fear that stepping into a new map would be more dangerous? The truth is, most of us are stuck, not because we lack talent or opportunity, but because we are caught in 3 deadly psychological traps. Traps that have buried millions of lives at the lowest positions of society. The first trap is identifying yourself with endurance. Have you ever felt proud of being hardworking, persistent, and capable of carrying every burden? Society glorifies the image of the tough man, yet it never teaches you that true strength is knowing when to abandon what no longer has value, daring to stand up and leave the swamp. Many people worship endurance to the point that even when they know the path they are on is a dead end, they still refuse to turn back, afraid of being seen as weak. They turn endurance into their personal identity and turn themselves into slaves to it. The second trap is addiction to a stable paycheck. Being paid regularly, receiving a salary every month, feels comforting. But have you ever looked back and realized that a stable income is actually a barrier preventing you from moving forward? It lulls you to sleep, makes you feel safe staying where you are, and suffocates your ambition to reach a higher position. You work hard, but you are always paid a capped amount. You do not control the flow of value. You are merely a cog in the machine. The fear of unemployment, the fear of losing that paycheck, makes you cling to that stagnant pond, even when you know the water is drying up. The third trap, and the most dangerous one, is the illusion of risk. You believe that being an employee is safe, that following procedures guarantees stability. When you see people who dare to leave their comfort zones, dare to invest, to build new positions, you label them as reckless or dangerous. But have you ever asked yourself where the real danger lies? Out there, where opportunities open up, or right here in the stagnant pond you are swimming in? You are like a school of fish in a shallow pond. The water is slowly receding, the fish crowd together in anxiety, yet none dare swim out to the great river because they believe the vast ocean is full of danger. They do not realize that the real danger is not the ocean, but the very pond that is running out of oxygen. Psychology calls this comfort zone bias and status quo bias, a preference for the familiar, the belief that keeping everything the same is the safest choice, even though it is quietly killing your potential every day. Numerous studies have shown that most people would rather endure a known misery than risk reaching for an uncertain good. Machiavelli constantly reminded us that the world is not kind. Safety is, in fact, the greatest illusion. Only by leaving the stagnant pond do you have a chance to reach the great river. Do not lull yourself for one more day. Do not dress endurance up as strength. Do not trade freedom for a modest, stable salary. Do not turn fear into chains for your entire life. If you dare to challenge yourself, comment right below this post. I dare to leave the stagnant pond. Treat it as a commitment, a ritual to initiate your movement in position. Do not let yourself grow old trapped in these three psychological snares. Your life is an ocean, not a shallow pool. 7. Identifying and seizing the bottleneck, thinking in control instead of just working. Venice, in the 15th century, a small city crowded among salty canals with no gold, no mineral mines, no fertile farmland. Yet Venice held a supreme power that made all of Europe bow, control over the Mediterranean's bottlenecks. They did not invent sailing ships. They did not weave silk or smelt gold themselves, but they controlled the ports, regulated shipping licenses, and set maritime laws. Every merchant, from the wealthiest to the smallest, who wanted to bring spices, silk, gold, and silver from the East into Europe, had to pass through Venice. And with every shipment, Venice took its cut. They became a wealthy empire not through labor, but through control of the gateway, the point where all value flows were forced to slow down before moving onward. It was a cold lesson in power. Power never belongs to those who only bury their heads in work, but to those who control the choke point. Returning to the present, you are born into a modern society where everyone repeats the same line: work hard and you will succeed. But if everyone works hard in the same way, who do you become? A diligent worker exhausting themselves for a company, waiting for a raise from their boss, hoping one day their position will change their life? Or are you the one who goes against the crowd, chooses to observe the landscape, searches within your field to find where the gateway is, where everyone must pass through, and quietly finds a way to stand there, like the Venetians of old? The dark truth that few dare to face is this: hard work may help you survive, but it will never lift you above the crowd. Successful figures, from Steve Jobs to Jay-Z, from Tony Stark in the Marvel Universe to Phil Jackson of the NBA, were not people grinding themselves down on the front lines. They were builders or controllers of trading points, bridges and platforms through which all value had to flow. Steve Jobs was not the best programmer, but he controlled the gateway between technology and user experience. Jay-Z was not just a rapper. He owned record labels and controlled an entire music ecosystem. Tony Stark did not manufacture every component. He controlled the corporation and the core technologies. Phil Jackson did not run on the court. He controlled strategy, becoming the bottleneck of the entire team. Do you see it now? The winner is the one who controls the flow, not the one who contributes drop by drop. So why do most people never choose this path? Because society drills a toxic belief into your head. Try harder, work more diligently, and the reward will come. The truth is, the harder you work in a low role, the more the system exploits you, the more you enrich those who stand at the right bottleneck. You fail to realize that every industry has a narrow point. Whoever controls it becomes rich. The rest merely fill in the labor to keep the system running. Remember the gold rush. No one got rich digging for gold. The ones who did were those who sold shovels. Remember Google. They do not produce content, but they control search traffic. Everything must pass through them. They collect fees. They hold power. That is the true nature of wealth. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote in The Prince, "He who controls the avenues to power, even if he does not hold the throne, can rule the kingdom in all but name. The one who controls the roads leading to power, even without sitting on the throne, still rules the kingdom." Look back at your own life. Are you working within the flow, or are you searching for and seizing the point where everything must pass through you? Are you proud of being hardworking, or do you dare to ask, where is the bottleneck in this system, and how can I control it? If you continue reacting the same way, you will keep burying your face in the grind, receiving a steady paycheck, and growing old in a position anyone can replace. You will be the one running around the NBA court, watching Phil Jackson wave his hand and decide the team's fate. You will be the programmer quietly fixing bugs, while Steve Jobs holds the microphone, receives the applause, and takes the largest share of profits. You will see yourself in the crowd, look up and ask, why am I always the one left behind? But if you apply Machiavellian thinking, you will stop asking, how do I work harder? And start asking, who controls the bottleneck? Who do I know? Which point do I control in the value chain? You begin to observe, Identify gaps, reposition yourself, build your own platform, create a community, or control data that everyone needs. You abandon the illusion that labor is glory and shift to the strategy of controlling the bottleneck. That is how you step out of the shadows and sit in the seat of the rule maker. In the end, power is not reserved for those who only work hard. Power belongs to those who control attention, control traffic, control points of exchange, control relationships, who control the bottleneck. Do not just work within the flow, find and stand where everything must pass through you. You want to be rich? You want to avoid being discarded, forgotten? Dare to leave the crowded flow and dare to control the gateway. Only then will people have to come knocking on your door. Your challenge is this. Tonight, sit down, map out the value chain of your industry, identify the bottleneck, and make a commitment. I will control the gateway. I will no longer be the one chasing. Are you ready to take control? Remember this clearly. The difference between the one who commands and the one who is hired, between the rich and the poor, lies largely in the position you choose within the system, not in how much sweat you pour out or the talent you were born with. Machiavelli taught us this. Position is destiny. If you want to change your life, you must dare to move, dare to change your position, instead of trying to become the best in an outdated spot where millions of others are fighting over scraps. Always ask yourself this raw question. If you disappeared tomorrow, would your company or your clients fall into a serious crisis? Or would it take them only a few hours to find another name to replace you? If the answer is the latter, then sorry, you are still just a disposable pawn, easily eliminated. It is time to stop taking pride in suffering or in blind diligence. Take pride only when you have the strength to stand in the right place and hold the value bottlenecks that no one can replace. I challenge you to look back at your position today. Where are you standing in the flow of power? Will you choose to continue being fuel for someone else's dream? Or will you begin the migration to seize a position of your own? Do not just stay silent and nod. Leave a comment below about the most bitter truth you have just realized. The journey of awakening has only just begun. The majority will remain asleep in resignation, but the few who dare to act will overturn the board. If you choose to be among the leaders, subscribe and join our community, where Machiavelli's razor-sharp truths will forge the mindset of a true prince. Do not wait for the world to change. Seize your position and force the world to revolve around you.